India, on Monday, September 6th, became the fourth country after the United States, Russia, and China to develop and successfully test hypersonic technology from APJ Abdul Kalam Testing Range in Balasore, Odisha. This indigenous technology will pave the way towards development of missile technology traveling at 6 times the speed of sound, Mach 6. The test of Hypersonic Test Demonstrator Vehicle HSTDV developed by the DRDO was conducted at 11:03 on Monday, September 6th using the Agni missile booster. Today, we have Dr. K. Siddhartha with us, who is an earth scientist, an educationist, and a mentor, to throw some light on this new development and its impact on Indian defense scene in the whole world. We welcome you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, sir, after this new development, what is going to be the picture of war?
The picture of war has already changed. The general notion and perception of the people that the war is going to be fought by the two armies in the battlefield along the border is no more valid at all. This is going to be only symbolic, nothing more than that. Because since such type of wars have been fought in the Second World War to begin with, and thereafter India went on to experience Kargil conflict, that was fought with armed people. Most of this war is now going to be fought with the help of technology. So a lot of new developments that have taken place in the field of information technology, computers, satellites, composites, propulsion systems are going to change the complexion of the coming future, not only in terms of war, but in terms of all overall technology. The convention in the battlefield, which is represented by the numerical military strength, is completely replaced. And when we say it's completely replaced, it's completely replaced by not the will to fight, but the ability to fight by trying to take the maximum advantage out of any such type of situation, and how much amount of maximum damage that the new sphere of anti-missile defense will go on to cause. What exactly will be the impact of the beamed energy weapons, high precision strike, stealth aircrafts, bombers, ammunition which are going to be converging with information technology, and also a lot of other instruments in the battlefield which will go on to be now in the geo orbit, also in the deep oceans, and also in some places which is going to be in a new space called the cyberspace. In a country, in future, in order to secure its border, in order to secure itself, border means a border is going to be completely abstract. And when we are talking about trying to secure itself, it is not only going to be borders. It is going to be all in all the entire of the country, and it will go on to, it will have to have an integrity approach. Integrative in the sense, integration of science, integration of technology, integration of communication, integration of psychological warfare, integration of variety of type of platforms, so governments, sensors, command and control systems, as well as high precision electronics and communication system, which have a capability to jam the other countries, not only defense system, but communication system as well. So in the coming future, the war is not going to be between the military capabilities of the two countries. It is going to be between the technological capabilities of the two countries. Any country that is going to be technologically capable will go on to fight a war, not a country that is going to be military more capable. With the development of certain things like a micro electron mechanical systems and nanotechnology, which can go on to be inserted in variety of type of places, even in mobile phones as well, even in chips as well, even in some type of microprocessors as well, miniaturization will be widely applied, essentially to track the people, to track the movement, and to track a variety of type of movements of the people who go on to matter in times of war. Certain things like tactical unmanned aerial vehicles, unmanned underwater vehicles, unmanned combat air vehicles, and micro unmanned aerial vehicles, unmanned ground vehicles, and stealth ships are going to be some of the new tools that are going to be used in the future warfare, aided by satellites and aided by cyber sensitivity in this case.
Sir, it will be extraordinary to see if we can have unmanned machines used in wars. And with so many emerging technologies, what will be the future of Indian missiles?
See, there are three important components of a missile system that will going to make it technologically very, very good. One of them is what we're going to be calling it the zero CEP system, that is a circular orbit precision. A circular orbit precision is about how accurate the missile is going to be in terms of hitting the target. Second is the hypersonic speed. With a hypersonic speed, it can go on to intrude into any different system of the world and into any country's different system as well. And the third is going to be reusability. Now, where the hypersonic speed will going to provide minimum or maximum flight time rather, low detectability, low interceptability, and the reusability will be significantly responsible for reducing the operational cost of the missile system and allow its usage to other technological spheres as well. The cost of maintaining a defense system will go on to decrease. So these are the three tactical aspects of a missile that will go on to change the technological shape of the country.
So, how do you see the hypersonic missile testing which took place in India last week?
If we can go on to talk about the hypersonic missiles, the one hypersonic missile that we tested, the statement of DRDO went on to say that the cruise vehicle was launched using the proven solid rocket propulsion system motor, which took it to an altitude of something like 30 kilometers, where the aerodynamic heat shield were separated at a hypersonic Mach number. That means at a very, very high speed. At that temperature, or at that height, the temperature goes on to become high enough to such an extent that the outer shield of any region goes on to become ruptured. So that was one part. Now the cruise vehicles they separated from the launch vehicle and the air intake was opened and that was as planned. Now this is significant because you lift the missile to a certain height and then you allow it to go on its own, guided by its own propulsion system. So it opened at the right time. That was very, very important. And hypersonic combustion sustained with that means hypersonic combustion was sustained. Combustion, that means at that level, there is nothing called as an oxygen. There is nothing called as atmosphere. So anything for it to burn, that requires a combustion. And for hypersonic combustion to sustain itself, and the cruise vehicle continued on its desired flight path at a velocity of 6 times the speed of sound. So this is what exactly was achieved in the hypersonic missile launch of India for the first time.
So it was like now we can proudly say that we have hypersonic technology as well, and it was a success.
Yes. To an extent, we can go to say, although the commercial, maybe the defense production activity will go on to take place after some time.
So how significant was it?
It is significant because it's a highly complex technology that will go to serve as the building block for next generation hypersonic vehicles in partnership with the industry. Now it is significant commercially also. It is significant commercially largely because the utility for long-range cruise missiles of the future, the dual-use technology, will have multiple civilian applications. For example, if someone wants to visit space, what you can go to do is that you can go to make them sit on a hypersonic system and then send it to space and then go to bring them down as well. So it is going to be a good amount of money spinner as well in this case. But then it's an achievement. It's a technological achievement. It's a technological achievement for many reasons. The first is, with this successful demonstration, many critical technologies such as an aerodynamic configuration for hypersonic maneuvers have been developed. Now, aerodynamic configuration, that means what will be the shape of it, what will be the aerodynamics of it, what will be the contours of the vehicle at which it can actually go at such a high speed. So this is something that has been developed. Second is the use of scramjet propulsion for ignition. Scramjet means at that level, you don't have oxygen, you don't have anything that will go to allow the fuel to burn. And the one technology that is going to be using is a scramjet propulsion technology for the purpose of ignition. The third in this case is sustained combustion at hypersonic flow. At such a speed, you have to allow combustion to keep on taking place, and that doesn't go to become easy at all. The fourth is a technology is the thermostructural characterization of high temperature materials. Thermostructural, that means that as the materials must be made of such type of a structure that will be able to withstand that type of a temperature condition. And these are high temperature materials. The fifth is a separation mechanism at a hypersonic speed and hypersonic velocity, because this is not going to be easy when something is moving at a speed of 6,000 kilometers of such. This is very, very difficult all in all. It's like if you're going to be sitting on a hypersonic vehicle of this sort, between India and United States, the entire distance will be covered in just 2 hours. Only 2 hours of time it will be covered. And the last is the critical events like fuel injection and auto ignition of the scramjet demonstrated it demonstrated technological maturity. So we said that is now it's an achievement, and these are the achievements. One, commercial. This can be put to commercial use. The other things are going to be technological.
So these are the other utilities of this technology, and
Yes.
it's mind-boggling to know all these aspects of this technology, and now we feel even more proud of India.
Yes, it is to be proud. It is to be proud,
Yes.
but then it has some potential problems as well. There is
Yes.
when you try to deal with this type of a situation, there are a lot of things that have to be taken into account. For example, the parameters of launch and cruise vehicle, including the scramjet engine, required to be monitored by, can you imagine, so many ships, so many tracking radars, so many electrical optical equipments and telemetry stations. Now, all of them have to be monitored in congruence with each other. Nothing can go on to go wrong, even in microseconds as well. That is one part. That's a real challenge of sorts.
Challenge.
The second is the scramjet engine worked at very high dynamic pressure at a very high temperature. And for that purpose, we launched these missiles from Baleshwar on sea. That's what the name is. Baleshwar is the British name that is given to it. Its Indian name is Baleshwar on sea. That is Abul Kalam Center. And ships were also deployed in Bay of Bengal to monitor the performance during the cruise phase of the hypersonic vehicles. Now, all of this performance parameter indicated that it requires so much amount of integration that itself is a very, very commendable job. And DO has indeed just a commendable job in this case. So, India can go on to be one of these leaders, and with this type of development of a technology, it will be very, very difficult that India will be attacked by someone, because it will be a very good deterrent factor as well. You can go to attack anyone, and this is largely because you can go to intrude into the defense system of any country at such a speed, at a low speed, even at a high speed as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your insights on this new addition to our India Stars Achievements of India. And today I'm sure our audiences have got to know so much about this technology, because in news we have heard about it, but you have explained it so thoroughly. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
To have more such discussion and analysis, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. And if you like the video, please do not forget to hit the like button so that we get inspired to give more such discussions in the coming future.